Latest football news, engaging debates,
and fascinating opinions.
Pitchside Talk on IO Radio.
Hello and welcome back to Pitchside Talk here on IO Radio. Back on IO Radio Fridays at 5 p.m. with another week of football action with me, George, as always. Hope you've had actually a good 2 weeks because we've been off for 2 weeks. We've actually had our, well, I don't know, what is it? Holiday no, it's not pre-season, is it, Dan? I don't know what it is. What do they call it?
Summer break, isn't it? That's what we had.
I don't think it's not actually a technical name, really, football. What the break bit is called, really. It's
just summer, isn't it? You just say the summer.
It is just the summer. Well, already on about that. He's already introduced himself. It is Dan. He's back for another week with me. I thought I just introduced him anyway. Dan, how are you doing? 2 weeks off. We're not seeing each other in a long time. We even spoken to each other. How are you doing? Like, what's been going on?
Yeah, I've not been too bad. You know how it is in the off season. It's just, I guess it's more exciting now. You know what's happening, but you know, without football, it gets boring, doesn't it? But yeah, I've been fine. Getting closer now to the start of the season.
Yeah, only 8 days away now until the start of the new Football League season, which we cannot wait for. Well, if you're in the Championship League 1 and League 2, it's only 8 days. But if you're in the Premier League, it's 15 days until the start of the brand new season. And we cannot wait for that to happen. Well, before we get on to what's coming up in the show today, I better mention the social media. Twitter is at Pitchside Talk. Instagram is at Talk_Pitch. YouTube and Mixcloud are both at Pitchside Talk. If you want to listen back to any of our previous shows, do not worry. They're all up there on the YouTube and the Mixcloud. Also, because, well, our last show, I was going to say last week, but our last show 2 weeks ago was our 100th episode. So, hooray. It's now returned a new leaf. It's now 101. So we'll be putting room 101s very soon, I reckon. Probably. I think that's how the show works. I don't really know. But still, what is coming up in today's show? We're going to be talking about Ipswich Town. We've got plenty of Ipswich Town news to come up. We're going to give you a massive roundup because Ipswich Town have been playing 2 pre-season games. They've had 3 transfers. Well, 3 transfers in and out. And all sorts, really, all sorts and lovely new things and what's coming up because, you know, the season's coming. And Mike Ashton has been speaking and Paul Cook and Michael O'Leary to a fan forum as well, which is really nice to see. So we're finally seeing what's going on there. And we'll be talking about a massive football roundup, what's been going on. Well, what we can actually even find that's been going on in football, to be perfect honest, because not to be rude, nothing much has been going on. But when we come back, we're going to be doing a massive daily roundup of the Ipswich Town news. So stay tuned.
Stay up to date with the latest footy news.
Pitchside Talk on IO Radio.
Hello and welcome back to Pitchside Talk here on IO Radio. It's Fridays at 5 p.m. with me, George, and Dan, as always. Now, before we move on, talking about Ipswich Town this week, after our 2-week break, summer break, holiday, whatever they call it in football, we can't really still determine what it is. We need to, I tell you something, right? We need to come up with a technical name for it. I think that's what we need to do, Dan, you know?
God, I'm not good at coming up with names for things.
It could be our contribution to football. You know, we can come up with a break name for this bit here, and it'll be all good, you know? So,
Okay.
What you're going to think, what we should call it, because it needs to have a technical name. Give us something to think. Put them on the spot, as always. But before we move on to talking about Ipswich Town this week, I better mention our social media. Twitter is at Pitchside Talk. Instagram is at Talk_Pitch. YouTube and Mixcloud are both at Pitchside Talk. If you listen back to any of our previous shows, do not worry. They'll be up there for you to listen. Now, finally, we've been away for 2 weeks and plenty of news has been happening at Ipswich Town. So we're going to give you a massive daily roundup. Well, a 2-week roundup. I'll just call it daily, but 2-week roundup, really. As we sort of, well, we've seen quite a bit of news. We're seeing fans return back to Portman Road to see Ipswich Town go against a Premier League opposition. Oh, hope it's a good one. I seriously do hope it's a good one. That annual derby with Ipswich Town B team. Oh, sorry. I mean Colchester. I don't know what's happening there.
How many times? Do not call it a derby.
Well,
it's not a derby.
It's a pre-season derby. It happens every year. You know it's a derby. You know. Don't shake your head at me. For all those people watching on the audio, you're shaking your head at me. No. It's a derby. And some more ins and outs through the doors of Ipswich Town. as they get up to signing number 10. Yes, they've now hit 10 signings, and clubs are calling them Checkbook FC, which is quite interesting. But we'll get onto that a little bit later on. But Dan, we might as well start with those two pre-season friendly games. Firstly, fans, they returned back to Portman Road. I think it's about 4,500 fans returned back to watch Ipswich Town versus Premier League opposition Crystal Palace, which ended in, unfortunately, a 1-0 loss to Ipswich Town, thanks to Wilfred Zaha's penalty. But the game was apparently quite interesting. Apparently, Town and Palace were quite evenly matched. Palace, they put out quite a strong team, a team you would actually expect to be playing regularly in and out, maybe with a few changes here and there in the Premier League. But I think really for fans, they got to see Paul Cook's new style stamped on at Portman Road for the first time, really.
Yeah, they did. I think it was a good indication of what's to come, this game. I think, as you said, Crystal Palace put out a pretty strong side, didn't they? And it seemed like we were, at it for the 90 minutes against them and equaling them, which was really good to hear. I didn't go to the game or watch the game because, well, you know how it is. But yeah, it's really good to see some positive signs, because it's happened before where we've replaced a team quickly over the summer and it hasn't worked. 18-19, for example. Maybe a little bit different now because we were replacing them players with League One players at the time. And this time we've seemed to, replace them with better quality players. And obviously it's going to take time for these players to gel, of course. But I think it's a first good sign for us as fans to see them looking competitive against a really, strong Crystal Palace side. And I think in the attacking third, we look really, really dangerous. I expect a lot of teams are going to be scared of playing against us. Their defences are going to be quite worried with the players we have going forward. Obviously, I think there's still a bit of strengthening to do at the back, but yeah, it's all good signs. And it was a penalty that cost us in the end. I know it's only a friendly, all of this. We are talking about a friendly, but
yeah, we are.
Still positive signs throughout it, I think.
Still should have walked away with 3 points, I say.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, it looks like signs. It looks like everything's pointing now in the right direction, which is really nice to see. And a few days later, it was time for the big annual pre-season derby against Ipswich Town B team. Oh, sorry, I keep saying that wrong, isn't it? It's Colchester. I mean Colchester. I don't know why I keep saying Ipswich Town B team, Dan. Do you know why? I'm not really too sure.
I think I know why. Wasn't it like seven outfield players for Colchester? The starting 11 played for Ipswich. I think there was one on the bench as well. So 8 of their players.
might be. I'm not really too sure. But still, 1,500 fans. They travelled down to put up to the Colchester Stadium, which all the fans are moaning about because it costs a lot of money to go down there. But they sold out all the tickets. So, well, you're moaning.
We're just massive, aren't we?
too big for this derby we play over pre-season, But fans were absolutely treated to a thriller, a 3-3 draw, which saw, Ipswich Town take the lead, Colchester come back, Ipswich go 2-1 down, Ipswich then make it 2-2, Colchester make it 3-3, and then, a late free kick from West Burns, 25 yards out. Peach makes it 3-3 on the night. Beautiful. Dan, the fans, they travelled down, they were treated. But the main takeaways really here from that game was we saw a lot of the new players play, gelled in. All the scorers that scored that day were all the 3 new players. We had Burns' late free kick to make it 3-3. Pickett, who got his first goal for Ipswich Town. I know it's pretty friendly, but it's his first goal. He opened the scoring. McKaylee Bond with his powerful header into the back of the net. He looks actually quite dangerous. I'm quite surprised. But also with some of the youth players as well, they came alive. And we saw a particular player shining in Dobber, which we'll get on to a little bit later on. But it looks like now Ipswich have solved a lot of their problems from last season with scoring goals. Maybe not at the back with the defence, but it is only a friendly. But like we said, the signs are all positive, pointing towards the positives here.
They are, yeah. And I think from what we've seen so far, it seems like we're going to have this policy of we're going to score more than you. You know, this team screams goals, doesn't it? For me, and it's so good to see because we haven't had that in so long. Obviously, last season was probably the worst goal scoring season I've seen in my life. It was absolutely dreadful, and probably the 3 seasons before that still wasn't good enough. So it's good to see us having some ambition and wanting to score goals for once. And we showed that in this game. I think we've got no problems going forward. But as you said, I still think there's some improvement to do at the back. I think all three, or maybe two, if not all three, were from goals conceded were from set pieces, which worries me a little bit. But if we're going to play we're going to score more than you, we're going to have quite an eventful season, aren't we? If it's going to be like that. But no, it was good to see the new guys scoring some goals. That free kick from Burns was peach of a free kick. I think the keeper got a hand to it, but there was no way he was keeping that out. And a header from Bon as well, and Pickett with the goal. We just seem so dangerous, and as I said, it's so good to see because we haven't experienced that in so long. Obviously, the young players coming through. It's really good to see some of the young players get their chance. I've heard good things about this Humphreys coming through. He looks like a player. He does. So I'm quite excited to see how he does. Obviously, Dobra had a fantastic game as well, which we'll mention soon. So yeah, it's all positives, isn't it? Really, the only niggling worry that I have is our defence, but we've still got time. We've still got 8 days until the season starts, and not even then the transfer window's not done then, is it? And from what it sounds like, we're still in the market for players, which will be mental, wouldn't it? If we still continue.
I'm still quite surprised we signed 10 players, but it's something I don't think we've ever seen at Ipswich Town before. Is this policy we're going to score more than you, and that's something so exciting because that just makes every game now like it's just going to be an absolute. Well, we don't expect every game now to be a thriller or something like that, but just it's just attacking what the attacking options they've got. It's crazy if you just think about it. It's absolutely crazy. You wouldn't if you said to me last season we're going to have this many attacking players. I told you to not because that would never happen. But it just everything feels so positive. All right, I know it's early days and all this, but like we're saying, everything is pointing in the right direction. But if Ipswich Town have this policy of we're going to score more than you every game, every game's just going to be absolutely brilliant to watch, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's what we're hoping for. It's been it's been so long with dull football, even throughout Mick McCarthy's reign. We had good times, but after that playoff season, it was just dull football, wasn't it? And I think under Julian Keane as well, it was pretty dull. I think under Magilton, it was more exciting than we had for how many years after that. But yeah, I think to see our manager, have a plan on what he wants to do and go through with it. And it's just so good to see, isn't it? It's just, when you look at our squad, when you look at the players we have in attacking areas, I just can't believe that we're in this situation. As you said, go back a year and look at the players we had going forward. Norwood, Jackson, Hawkins, Drinnan, Judge. It's night and day, isn't it? It really is. So yeah, I'm super confident and super happy with the way things are going, and hopefully it'll be entertaining. I'm sure it will be because the squad we have is just dangerous. Dangerous from the off. It will be. No wonder other fans are bitter and jealous of us.
Oh yeah, we'll get onto that a little bit later on. But somebody who hopefully will be integral to that attack next season or this season, is Dobra. He played in the preseason draw against Colchester United or Ipswich Town B team. Not really too sure what they're called, really. I think we need to ask them. We need to tweet them. What is your actual name? Is it Colchester or Ipswich Town B team? We need to ask them. But he received quite a lot of praise, really, from Francis Jeffers. He gave him a lot of praise. He's saying it's an absolute pleasure to watch the young Dobra. I thought he was special tonight. He's got lots of ability, and he has got to get his numbers better with the goals and assists, which we've spoken to him about, and everybody gets onto him about it. But if we can get him to do that on the ball with those dangerous areas, he's going to be some player. And we're seeing flashes from him. We have seen it, but it has never really sort of materialized under Lambert. He got that long-term contract, then wasn't really with the squad, then was, and then faded away. And then under Paul Cook, he slowly came back in, but Phil wasn't too sure if he was his type of player and sort of what we've seen at the end of the season. But he's now had a pre-season to work under Paul Cook. He's doing quite well. The staff are really happy about him. So possibly this could be a big season for him. This could be his breakout season. But like we say, they're saying here, he's got to get his numbers up, which is probably the biggest thing we haven't really seen from it is his numbers. He hasn't had that consistent run to get his numbers up. But surely if he's going to be playing like this week in, week out, he ain't going to be able to drop. He can't be dropped, can he? Like, he is integral to what could be the future of Town and also this season if he's going to be playing consistently.
I think he's got that potential, and I think he's going to have to work very, very hard this year to be that first choice, because as we've said before, we've got so many players in attacking areas that he's going to have his work cut out, but he's that type of player, I think, that can make a massive difference. He hasn't really had his chance yet. He played quite a bit under Cook, I think, last year towards the end of the season. He played more than he did. Well, I don't know if Lambert really liked him or not. I know he was going to go out on loan, wasn't he? But he decided against that because he wanted to try and break into the first team. It was linked with Crawley Crawley, I think. I think it was last summer. And I think at the time, everyone thought that was probably a good move for him, that he should have gone out on loan. And maybe it is still, because I don't think he would have got game time there. I think he's got huge potential, and I really hope he gets his chance this season. I really do. And if he's given that chance and he can put in some performances like he did against Colchester, then who knows what could happen, because he's definitely got the quality that can make a difference. And with players around him, with the quality that we have, it's only going to help him, isn't it? It really is only going to help him with the caliber of players we have. So I think he's happy with the situation right now, and I think he's got a bright future here.
Yes, it looks like he's got a bright future. So hopefully, touch wood, he'll get his chance, he'll play some football, and he will produce the numbers that we hope that he will get next season. Well, we better now move to the stuff that's happened off the pitch in that transfer window, which has seen many fans from clubs criticise this town, very much getting nicknamed the Checkbook FC. I know it's going to sound bad, but I think we should embrace that, because that's the first time Ipswich have actually had a nickname that's been pointed at them, which is actually good for once. I think we can actually say I've not heard a nickname that good. Usually it's something we can't actually say on radio because it's actually too rude. But whatever, we'll take it. But as we saw, some more ins and outs come through that revolving door, with one more leaving, but two more coming in, making it 9 and 10 now in the signings for this summer. But first, you better begin with the signing that went out, and it was Teddy Bishop. He completed his long-awaited transfer move to Lincoln City on Tuesday for an undisclosed fee. His contract extension was kicked in last season after it was triggered, after he made so many appearances last season, but Paul Cook told him that he was free to join another club. Dan, another academy player gone, but his time will just be remembered really for bursting onto that scene, 18 years old in that 14/15 season, where he looked very good under Mick McCarthy, but then after that season, injuries after injuries just slowed his progress down, and he came back. He sort of picked up a little bit at Ipswich Town, but his time's now up at Portland Road. But what do you sort of feel about this? This is sort of transfers like the Dazelle transfer. Sorry, it's another academy player gone, but we're getting money for him. But we feel a little bit sad, but at the same time, it's sort of the best of the team, because this money here will be reinvested back into the club in buying new players who are potentially better and maybe have a bit more value to the club than Bishop did, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think this summer that's how it's going to be. Obviously, I feel sad that he's gone because I think he's been a player that has really impressed me, especially that playoff season. He was brilliant under Mick in that playoff season. His breakout season. I think at the time we thought he was going to be brilliant, but of course, as so many of our youngsters it happens to, he's just suffered with injuries, and it's so unfortunate for him because I think the same with Dazelle. We know how good of a player he can be. We've seen it firsthand, but he just can't get a break. But then again, he did play most of last season, didn't he? I don't want to be saying he's a bad player because he's not, but he was in a team that finished ninth in League One or 8th in League One, 11th in League One the year before. And Paul Cook told our players, didn't he? He said to most of them, you can go. There was probably about 3 or 4 that he wanted to keep. So yeah, I'm not surprised that he's gone, and I'm not too upset if I'm honest, because I know, as you said, we'll probably use that money we get for Bishop to improve on what he was. I think he's probably a similar player to Fraser, who came in, that number 10, and we don't know if Fraser's a better quality player. Obviously, we haven't seen him enough yet, but yeah, I think it was a good move for Teddy. I think going to Lincoln, a team that will be fighting for the playoffs, I'd say, in League One this year. It's definitely a good move for him, and I wish him all the best there, obviously, because he's been at the club for a long time now, hasn't he?
18 years.
And it's going to be strange without him here, but it's just not worked out, unfortunately.
No, unfortunately not. It's sort of the same sort of situation, really, as we talked about. Dazelle really not really sort of worked out. Had that a massive injury, started to slowly come back in, but yeah, his time not worked out. But we do wish him the very best at Lincoln City, who were really well looking to right the wrongs of last season after that playoff campaign just crumbled away at Wembley, unfortunately. But as Teddy left, 2 more signings came in, number 9 and number 10. And first, we better start off with number 9, as Ipswich Town made another statement in the transfer market, signing George Edmondson from Scottish champions Rangers and Giants as well for a fee of 750k, possibly rising up to £1 million with add-ons on a 4-year deal. The 23-year-old centre-back has had quite a lot of interest from other clubs. Derby County, where he was on loan at last season, where he made 10 appearances, 1 goal and 2 clean sheets. Not very impressive stats, but Derby didn't really have a very good end to their season, and not have a pretty good start to this season already. It hasn't even started. The ball hasn't been kicked, and it's not looking great. But he's had plenty of interest. Peterborough have also looked as well, but he said he could not turn down the opportunity after a exciting chat with Paul Cook, where he said the opportunity came along and it was one that I could not turn down. I spoke to the gaffer. I was really excited. He has a massive pull, and also this is a huge club. It's really good to see that players are now looking at Ipswich Town as an opportunity going forward now. Huge opportunity, but realistically, Dan, Ipswich Town, they're now finally addressing these centre-back problems. And, you've got to think Town have only had, before he came in, they only had 2 senior centre-backs. Now it's 3. But crucially, more centre-backs coming in. But he's a very exciting young player. At Rangers, he is highly regarded at Rangers, but he slowly fell down that pecking order, unfortunately. But, he's been able to get the game time somewhere else, but fell down that pecking order. He's now come to a new opportunity here. Paul Cook has followed his career for a long time. When he was on loan, they played against his team. I can't remember the team was now. It's gone blank in my head. Not too sure what the team was. Did I tell you what it was?
Yeah, it was AFC Filed.
That's what it was. Yeah, he followed his career from there, but he's landed his man, which is really good to see. But somebody here who's got potential going into the future. This is unheard of. What are we doing? This is not right. Get me out of this dream.
Yeah, I know, another really exciting signing. And I think another player that I hadn't really heard of too much. I knew he was on loan at Derby, but I knew he didn't really play very much. I don't think he played very much for Rangers either. But if Paul Cook, he said that he's followed his career and obviously thinks he's a fantastic player, which is it's really good to see. Paul Cook getting the players that he wants, which again, it's another thing that we haven't seen in a while because of funding, but that's all changed now. But yeah, I think we needed a centre back, didn't we? That's what we've been needing really. Well, we need an overhaul of our whole team, but I think centre back is the position that we hadn't really improved yet. So hopefully this is a good start. I think we need a few more. But well, we have 3 senior centre backs, unless and Dabba breaks into the first team this year. But yeah, I'm really excited with this signing, and hopefully he can come in and it's on a 4-year deal, isn't it? Yeah. He's obviously Paul Cook obviously wants him to be in the first team, which is good to see as well. And so for what I've seen and what I've heard, he's a solid centre back, and I think he's a similar centre back to Adam Webster in that he likes to bring the ball out of defence. I guess a Wolfenden kind of centre back as well. Yeah. Although Wolfenden didn't really get the chance to do that, but I don't know. Wolfenden and Edmondson together could be a solid pairing.
Could be a very solid pairing. Sort of a ball playing centre back, 2 ball playing centre backs at the back. Could be quite interesting to see next season. Because we know Wolfenden can play a little bit further forward. We saw it again. It was that game against Accrington where he played as one of those defenders on the wings, and
even Chambers did that then, which was a huge bit of a surprise.
Well, both defenders got an assist that day, so we must remember that. It went pretty well. But before number 9 could have his time in the spotlight and get his feet settled under the table, number 10 send the fans into overdrive and stole his limelight. I feel very bad for me. He only had 2 hours in the limelight, and then number 10 came flying in as Conan Chaplin from Barnsley signed for $750K on a 3-year deal. Town have done it again, another signing of the Championship. Connor, he's described the opportunity as exciting after more signing chats with Paul and Mike, but also said that the opportunity with going down from Championship to League One isn't that massive anymore. He said it's now technically on par from going from Championship to League One. We must remember that Barnsley did have that playoff push where they did get to the playoff semi-finals, but they lost to Swansea in that game. But Paul Cook is described Connor as one of the nicest young men you can meet in football after the pair spent time at Portsmouth. So another man that Paul Cook has worked with before, another player. So he's very familiar with what he can do. But this signing shows you that players from the Championship that are looking at Ipswich Town and going, it's not a bad opportunity, but it's an opportunity that excites me. But I don't mind dropping down a league for it. And he's saying he didn't mind dropping down another league, but it shows how successful this transfer has been. But Chaplin, another good signing, another player on the wing. That attacking threat, as we were speaking earlier on, it's just going to look more dangerous by the day.
Yeah, it's so dangerous, and it's another player that is really exciting. He's a player that I've thought is a fantastic player since we played Portsmouth in the FA Cup in 15-16, and he absolutely ran rings around us. They were in League 2 at the time. We were in the Championship. So he was a brilliant player then. And to sign him now, I think the guys at EADT kind of said on the same day, didn't they, that we were close to signing him. It kind of came out of nowhere. So when I saw that, I was like, wow, that'll be another fantastic signing. And I think it's been a theme of all the players who have said they've been persuaded to come here because of the project that Paul Cook and the owners are putting across, and Mark Ashton, which is really good to see. A lot of them are saying the same thing. So they obviously believe in the manager and where this club is going, which, only excites me even more. And then to bring a player like Chaplin in, who was, an important player for Barnsley in their playoff push, and who was really, really good for them. To come down a league, I feel like that's a coup. I don't know how much money we spent on him. It didn't really say. I don't know what the fee was, but I'm ecstatic about this signing.
A region around 750,000 for the Chaplin. That's what this believed figure. Nobody's too sure.
Yeah.
That's the belief figure, but that's happening. But something interesting that Mike Ashton said when speaking about the two players in the Cubs sort of statement: it's been a busy day. We're delighted to both have George and Colin to the team, and wish them every success here. We are continuing to work on adding to the squad before the season kicks off on the 7th of August, and we will see what develops over the next coming days. He's not finished yet. Like, I don't know. When is the window closed? Is it end of August, if I remember correctly?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
But still,
we probably should.
We've just had number 10 come through the door, and he's speaking about more here.
Yeah.
He means business. I think he's on about, he's been working long hours, but still, he doesn't stop, does he? Does he ever sleep? I
don't think so.
I think we're going to ask him, does he even sleep? Do you even breathe? Do you even sit down?
Well, I was going to say, he did say when he joined, he said, you can't run a football club or if you're not doing it 24/7. So I really don't think he does sleep.
I hope he does. Mike, if you're listening, you need some sleep, please. You need your 8 hours, don't they say? Is it 8 hours you need? You need 8
yeah,
hours
about 8 hours.
8 hours. You need to catch up. But still, he's on about bolstering squad still. This shows that Town are not finished here. Number 10 might be through the door, but they still mean business here.
Yeah, which is mental. I don't know how he. I feel like when I look at our squad now, you look at it and think, how can we improve this even more? And I'm sure that we're looking to do that, which is man. I think the squad we have at this moment in time is good enough to get promoted as it is. So to get some more players in will be really exciting stuff. And yeah, it's amazing to see the staff and the manager and the owners and the new CEO. It's just a sense of direction, I guess, isn't it? That we actually want to get out of this league. Before, it didn't seem like we really were looking to. Well, obviously we wanted to, but there wasn't a plan in place. But now, it seems like we really do think that this is crucial, and it really is. And we're only signing players that will help us get out of this league. And seriously, if we sign 4 more quality players, 3 or 4 more quality players, that's what he was saying, which is mad. I don't want to sound too confident though, because what happens with Ipswich. But do you reckon this team could stay up in the Championship? I really think it could. With the players we've got, I don't want to be too premature, but that's just how it is.
You have to believe. So you have to believe. And that's all I'm going to say. But finally, before we leave, talk about Ipswich Town. One thing I want to mention is about Luke Wolverton. He spoke to the media after the Colchester game about life at Ipswich Town. We know he spoke about sort of life at Ipswich Town halfway through last season. Well, a little bit in the Swindon Town loss and the 3-2, and we saw how annoyed he was, and then he suddenly disappeared under Paul Lambert. I wonder what happened there. PR Paul doing his magic again, but he described life at its town right now as night and day from last season. It is a lot different from how last year was. It's like night and day. I'm loving it. The players we have brought are really good. We have a style of play, and we're going to stick to it throughout the whole season. I'm really looking forward to it. And he admitted to listening to "I'm Still Standing" by Elton John every day. Because he's still there. I think he is one of those players who's made it from the last squad from last season. Not many have transitioned over, but that's quite funny to that. But something I want to sort of point out, really, it shows this new attitude Ipswich Town have got off the pitch. It's been worked on by Paul Cook and his team to sort of make all the players really now drive for success. And something we've not seen. It's only about positive vibes. What happened last season was just diabolical, perfectly honest. But it really shows that these positive effects they're having off the pitch are just reflecting on the pitch, and it's lovely to see.
It is, yeah. It's really good to see Wolfenden say that, and I think especially him, I feel like he's a morale type of player. If he's happy, then he'll put in good performances. So it's really good to hear that he's happy, and there's night and day from last season. It must feel weird for him though, because he's probably one of 4 players, I'd say. Probably him, Norwood, Vincent Young, and Dobra, who really are the ones who are gonna be fighting for first team spots this season. So must feel weird for him. But obviously, I think in every area of the club, it just seems more positive now. And it's mad how quickly things change, doesn't it? It was just doom and gloom probably until when did they take over? Early March.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so it was just doom and gloom till then. We just thought, where is this club going? And they've saved us from it, haven't they? They've saved us from it, and we're going to be if this project is positive, these guys will be remembered, and we'll thank them forever, really, for saving our club, because it wasn't going anywhere, was it? It was going low. I remember us talking on here saying, where are we going to go from here? Like, but it's just so good to see that there's so much change now, and we're actually confident, and I can't wait for this season. I really can't. It's going to be one hell of a ride, I think.
Yeah, it's going to be one hell of a ride. And that is everything for your Ipswich Town roundup this week. And when we come back, well, we're going to actually have a little bit of time actually to do a football roundup, because we spoke so much about Ipswich Town. We're going to do a little football roundup. And, well, a little exclusive for you people listening live on iRadio and Mixcloud. You're going to now hear I'm Still Standing by Elton John in honour to Luke Walton. Those people on YouTube, I'm sorry, you got to listen on YouTube, Mixcloud and IO if you want to listen to that. But we'll be back in a few minutes.
The best place in Ipswich to hear the latest football debates, Pitchside Talk on IO Radio.
Hello and welcome back to Pitchside Talk here on iRadio. It's Fridays at 5 p.m. with me, George, and Dan, as always. Now, before we move on, talking about, well, doing a football roundup for once in our lives. We always tease it. We never do it, but we're actually doing it for once. I better mention social media. Twitter is at Pitchside Talk. Instagram is at Talk_Pitch. YouTube and Instagram both at Pitchside Talk. And don't worry, if you missed anything from today's show, which is an absolutely massive Ipswich Town roundup, news, whatever you want to call it, don't worry. It'll be up Fridays at 6 p.m. So when the show's done at 6 p.m., it'll be up. And Dan, we're going to do a football roundup for once. Hooray, finally. And you're going first this week. What news have you got for us?
Yeah, it's been a bit quiet, hasn't it, recently? But we've got some news from a Premier League club. John Terry, assistant manager at Aston Villa. Well, he's not there anymore, is he?
No, he's gone.
He's left Aston Villa, which is an interesting one, I think. I think he's been crucial for them, hasn't he, in their promotion and them staying up as well in the Premier League 2 seasons ago now. So will that affect them? It'll be interesting to see, because he's done a really good job there with Dean Smith.
Yeah, we have to remember here, the Villa had to fight off speculation last season and in the middle of the last season as well, that he was going to leave to go to, was it Bournemouth and Celtic? They had opportunities open up and they were quite interested. But I think what's quite interesting is I hear that he's going to take a break and he's going to go into management, which I think be very interesting to see how he gets on. I reckon he'll be a good manager,
Yeah,
very good manager. Well, so I've got some news as well. Some big transfer news. Yes, some transfer news. Something's finally be happening. Manchester United, everybody's favourite club in the world, particularly not mine. They've reached an agreement to sign Real Madrid defender Rafael Varane for an initial fee of 34 million, which will rise up to 42 million over the next 12 months. Apparently, they've agreed a 4-year deal with an optional 12 months, doing an Ipswich Town tactic here, not signing a 5-year deal, a 4 years plus 12 months, because that's what all clubs do. But what's quite interesting, he hasn't completed the move yet. It's just an initial move, but he will be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first sign of the season, following Tom Heaton and Jadon Sancho. God, I'm better. Hope you don't do well. Sorry, I didn't say that at all. Dan, what have you got next?
We're supposed to be non-biased on this show. Come on.
What are you on about? You don't think that Colchester versus is a derby?
Yeah, you're right. Anyway, yeah, my next bit of news. So there's going to be some changes with headers in football, in training, isn't it? So professional footballers in England are going to be limited to 10 higher force headers, which I think is long balls over 35 yards, free kicks and corners. You're only going to be able to do 10 of them in training. I think it's to tackle long-term brain injury, isn't it, and dementia, which I think in the long term is a good thing, because when you think about in training how many headers these guys do, it's going to be a lot, isn't it? So I think it's good in the long term that this has been decided.
Yeah, I think we're sort of what really sort of has happened quite a few years ago with a few players sort of developing that. I think it's really good. I think Shearer highlighted that you might not do many in the match, but in training you might do an hour's worth of just heading alone, and that's the big concern, is the training. But it's really good to see that is coming into force. And I've got one more bit of football roundup before we go, and it's about Derby County, Derby in crisis, whatever you want to call them. The EFL have allowed Wayne Rooney side to go and sign out of contract players, but the deals will have to have a strict wage limit. As we know, Derby County are in crisis. They have no centre-backs. They have 9 senior players. Well, 8, because Josh Knight's got injured 3 months out because Wayne Rooney did a bad tackle for him in training. 5 of the players who played against Manchester United, they didn't even have a contract. We're not even going to go into what's happening with Wayne Rooney mode. Lots of stuff going on behind the scenes that we don't want to get involved in that, but not looking very good for him at the moment. But God, but Derby, the season hasn't even started and it's already going wrong. It was going wrong at the end of last season and they stayed up, but doesn't look very good for Derby. The ball hasn't been kicked. Not looking very good. Sorry, Derby County fans. If you want to listen to one of our things, we did a fan talk with a Derby fan, and you can listen up to it. It'll be somewhere you can listen to it. Yeah, you know.
I was just gonna say, looking at their squad, I hate to say this, but it's got relegation written all over it.
I think it did last season, unfortunately.
Well, maybe they survived in the end, didn't they?
By luck. But yeah, that is everything for today's show. We've hit the end of today's show. Dan, we've done another show. You know, we've covered everything up from the 2 weeks that we missed. I guess you're going to be joining me next week where we will actually be talking more about Ipswich Town news. I reckon it'll be not signing, but it would be, oh my God, less than 24 hours before the big game against the Morecambe.
Yes.
Hey! Cannot wait. We're going to be both
buzzing.
there, actually. I'm going to be
We
there.
are,
You're
yeah.
gonna be there. Pitch Show Talk will be back at Portland Road for the first time. Hopefully, I'll say it like that, we'll be on King's Ang as well, so you can see us on the game day as well. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. I need to actually talk to Ross about that, but still. But Dan, I want to thank you very much for being on today's show. I guess I'll see you next week as always.
Yes, of course. It's going to be an exciting show next week.
Cannot wait. Oh, can we do it already? But no, yeah, if you want to follow us on any social media, it's pretty simple. Twitter is at Pitch I Talk, Instagram is Talk_Pitch, YouTube it's both at Pitch I Talk. And don't worry if you missed anything from today's show. Do not worry, YouTube Mixcloud, it'll be up at 6 p.m. in a few minutes' time, where you can listen back to us on about this massive football roundup we've done and Ipswich Town. So I've been George. He's been Dan. We'll see you next week, and ciao.
See ya.
The whistle has been blown for full time. Tune in next week for another jam-packed show.